Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad to hear this Wednesday morning. Got a great show lined up, and our weather, of course, brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin Road and Highway 77. High today's going to be 88 degrees and low tonight 74. It just hadn't hit 90 too many times this summer, but like my guests were talking about earlier before I came on the show, this humidity and all, the heat index has really been hot, so you have to watch out for it. Water temperature remains at 84 degrees. Now take a look at our river readings. Now, this starting to look good on the river. The Apalachicola Bluntstown is, as the old timers say, is about to get right. It's right around 8 foot, and it's steady. Now, I'm telling you, there will be some good fish caught this weekend on the Apalachicola River. It's reading a good 9.9 this morning, right at 10. Now, let's take a look at the Choctawhatchee at Caryville, and it's also in a lot better shape. It's reading a 9.1. Both rivers are 9 foot, and now the Choctawhatchee remains steady for all week long. So it's going to be a good fishing on both the rivers for freshwater this weekend if the rain will hold out, and I think it is. So it looks like it's going to be a great weekend for fishing. Now let's take a look at our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery, and their motto is "When Caring Counts." And taking a look at today is September the 4th, and we have a decent tide, but we're going into neap tides. Like I say, this is going to be a good weekend for freshwater fishing. I don't know about saltwater, but listen, a lot of folks catch fish on neap tides. But our tide today, we're looking at a high tide this morning at 9:40 and a low tide at 6:03, and we have a 1.2 foot range right now, and it's going to be a little bit slacker as time goes on. But last time we had neap tides, I ran into a guy that came down from Bainbridge, Georgia, and I'd mentioned on the show this last month. I'd mentioned on the show about it might be slack fishing. He told me he tore them up in St. Joe Bay. So, never let something like that deter you. If you want to go fishing, you go ahead and go. Let's take our break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Welcome, Captain Rick Corley.
Good morning.
All right. Rick and I have been sitting here talking about all kind of old things going on back in the past, and this is your 44th year.
Yep.
And we're talking about just the changes that short period of time. It hadn't felt like a short period of time, I don't guess.
No.
But, Rick, last show I had down at C&G, Ronnie Groom came on and talked about how they used to find the old tarpon, and they used to look at Highway 77 and get the bearings and all that. And I ran into a guy the other night at a White Western function, and one of the viewers, and he was just fascinated with that story. And a lot of times us locals take it for granted that everybody knew all those kind of stories and all, and we have it in my book and all, but we talk about how the old timers used to find their way around. It was amazing.
Sure. Well, they would use lots of techniques. Captain Walter would go out, and of course everybody knew Walter knew how to catch fish. Mm-hmm. Walt Anderson, and some of them would follow him and hoping he'd go to the fish, and then they'd go over and fish by him. Mm-hmm. Well, he knew that, and he'd look around. He kept a pair of 7x50 binoculars. Mm-hmm. Everybody said, "Why didn't he carry bigger binoculars?" He said, "No. 7x50s, you can keep them stable and you can see what you're looking at. Mm-hmm. If you get much more power than 7 power, mm-hmm. you lose it if it gets a little rough." Well, we'd go out there and we'd scan the horizon. No boats in sight, mm-hmm. anywhere. Then he'd say, "Okay," and he'd go right to his fishing spot. Mm-hmm. We'd go down there off Double Yellow Bluff. We fishing 85 foot of water and catch snapper about like this, the good eating size, mm-hmm. what they call it, just a little better than a rat snapper, as they call it. Yeah. And load the boat up. And they were fishing with hand lines because mm-hmm. you didn't want to fish that deep. But the other thing, all the technology basically they had was prior to World War II up until late 50s. Well, I started in 1958, 55 years ago. I started decking on the Cap Mouse and the fifth to start with Max Anderson. Then I went over to with Captain Walter on the old Zero, the Cap Mouse and the Zero, the first one. There was a 1 and a 2 and a 3 all the way up through 10. But anyway, they'd go out, they'd line things up like, depending on where they were at, like you say, the Highway 79 and some other stuff, or the paper mill and something else,
I know.
or radio towers, all kind of things like that to get on their spots, or they would come out and they knew that if they ran a certain heading, and then Captain Walter used to carry one of you remember the old window weights, and it was concave in the bottom, and they'd put oxygen soap in there. And they'd throw that thing overboard, and when it hit bottom, they'd bring it up and they'd look. If they had coral in it, they knew they were down there in the coral reefs off of Phillips Inlet and down that area. And they could tell by what that was going on there in the depth of the water. And then they got the Raytheon paper machines, as they call them. They had paper they print out on. Well, I can remember Tommy Oliver, they used to call him Barefoot Tommy. Even in the wintertime, he wouldn't wear shoes. He went barefoot, he barefoot cap. But we'd go down, and he was running the Gulf Pride for Hobbs and Son, and we'd go out there, and he'd run a certain length of time on the heading, and he'd start watching that paper. And I asked him several times, I said, what are you watching? He says, in a minute it's going to have a little blip in it, and he said, then we're going to go another quarter mile. And he said, we'll be right where we ought to be. And I said, you know the bottom of this ocean out here? But that's all they did was watch that bottom machine, and they knew I had printed where they were at.
And you know, and all the interviews I did while I was doing the book, I can remember Captain Virgil Anderson talking about how important in 1932 when they built the paper mill, when they built that big stack right there. That paper mill stack gave them such a good bearing down there.
Yeah, if you wanted to go home, you went to the paper mill and found the pass.
And he said that once he came out of pass, he'd have a stopwatch with him. But the biggest thing, we didn't realize the challenge, you know, every day you go at the pass, you have a different wind direction, you have a different current. So these guys had to make an adjustment through their experience. There were no books on that. You know, if it's blowing 5 miles per hour, you got to slow it down a minute 45. But you know, that's how. And it just amazed me hearing all these stories. And I put a lot of them in the book, like I said. But it was fascinating.
You know, we were talking about that. But my dad, when he was a kid, now he was a kid. Think about this. They were hauling moonshine whiskey up and down the Apalachicola River, and they were hauling label whiskey back in from Havana. Well, he was by himself now, and he was like 14, 15 years old. Take that boat. Yeah, wind's out the southwest, we're okay. You don't know if there's a hurricane coming or not. Go down, go through Lydian Channel, go over to Havana, load the boat, and come back. Come into the river and go back up to Columbus, dropping it off. But all he had was a compass. And he, you know, I would be out there sometimes. He sailed with me a few times, and I'm taking shots with the sextant. He said, what are you doing? I said, I'm finding out where I'm at and where I'm going. He said, well, if you look at so-and-so, he says, you're right on course. I'm saying, how the hell do you know that?
And you were talking about in your 40 years, just the past 44
years I've been a surveyor.
I asked you what was the single biggest change that you've seen in boating, and you said it was electronics. And because nowadays, I mean, electronics is amazing. You know, somebody that's never been on a boat, if they knew how to read electronics, would go get on a boat and probably go find some fish today.
Well, we had Loran A, and then we had a guy right here in the Navy base that developed Loran C. And I think his last name was Lumnow. I may be wrong, but I think it was Lumnow. But I knew him, and I remember when Loran C was to catch me out for a long time. And then they went from that to sat-nav, where the satellite came over, but you only had a certain period of time you could do that. Well, I ran the research ship that helped develop the GPS. That's what we would do, is go different places. And we had, counting me with a sextant, 8 different ways to determine where we were at. They would send us somewhere by that machine, and then we cross-reference with all the other to prove that we were really where we were supposed to be. But yeah, it's in 55 years, since 1958, it has been amazing. The only thing that came on the scene around that time that was really significant, more than Loran, was the use of radar. Boats started using radar. And then it was difficult. Like Captain Walter, he'd watch. If there's anybody on the horizon, he wouldn't go to his fishing spot until there was nothing on the horizon.
Well, captains still do that today.
Oh, I know. But the radar, it's line of sight, but you can still stay just out of range and get that ping. Of course, they both got radar, so they look and see if somebody's there.
And I know some unscrupulous guys who try to zap these captains in their spots.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
Let's take this break. I have a lot of good pictures to show you. We'll take this break and be right back. All right, welcome back, Senator Captain Rick Corley. We have a whole bunch of pictures to show you over the past weekend. Labor Day weekend been very, the weather been aggravating, but some folks still got out, and it's amazing at some of the pictures we have. So we'll get started, and Rick, you tune in anytime you want to now, because the first one, a red grouper, this is a familiar guy. Captain Ken Paramore with FWC, and you said you remember catching those red grouper
in the bay.
He's only about 7 miles out there.
But we used to catch them just about 100 yards northwest of the number 11 buoy in the bay.
All right, folks, this is right here. This grouper was caught in the past. Talking about catching them. This grouper was caught in the past, a 40-pounder. They were trolling with a stretch 30. Now that I've caught grouper that way, just trolling for them, and you can do that. But that is a good, healthy grouper to come out of the pass here.
That's a real good sign.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Nice one right there. Okay. Now we have Steve Roberson. They caught this one over here at Tyndall Saturday morning, fishing over there. Really pretty redfish. You're going to see a lot of redfish this morning, folks. Saturday.
I tell you, that's a nice looking red.
Yes, sir. Saturday, Sunday. We're going to just skip that one. That's the dessert my wife's going to make right there. All right. Allison Parker, Dalton Parker. They sent this picture. Their son. This is his first redfish, and he's fishing with his Uncle Jack. Okay. Uncle Jack Parker took his nephew fishing. That's a great picture there. It goes to Deer Point Elementary School. Their nickname's Angler, so he's a real angler right there. Good job, young man. All right, now, if you fish this weekend, summertime, you're going to get hit with rain. And here's Howard Farrow. Howard's an excellent fisherman, and he caught these redfish right here, though. Good job, Howard. All right, now, let's go down to this next picture. Donald Hayes Brooks. Good-looking redfish right there.
Wow.
Pretty redfish. Okay. Flounder. Now look at the size of that flounder, folks.
Yeah, look at that tennis shoe.
Now I'm talking about that's probably a size 12 shoe.
Yeah.
That actually came out to be a 28-inch right there. That's Randy Noyes. I'm taking actually it's a 25-inch flounder. Randy Noyes.
I bet you somebody's gonna eat that old dead fish.
Yeah, they're gonna eat it.
Yeah,
I know they are.
If it
Friend,
hello.
this is over in Santa Rosa Beach now. We're right here in the backyard, trying to have a Labor Day picnic, and the bear just.
Well, he was coming to the party.
He's coming to the party. Sherry and Carrie Nelson. Well, it used to be Nelson. They married now. They went to visit with their dad over at Santa Rosa Beach, and I used to coach. There were twin girls and sweet girls, and they sent me this picture of this bear.
Yeah.
All right, now. How about some mullet? Well, it's getting. This is the first mullet I've shown now. It's getting to September. Every time September rolls around now, you think about mullet. It's Sonny Buchanan, and that is a good mess of mullet.
Yeah, them and some cheese grit coleslaw and a big pitcher of iced tea.
And that Buchanan family has been catching mullet a long time. I told you he was coming to the picnic. Look at here. All right, let's move on down. This is a hoss right here, okay?
Man, yeah.
This is Forrest Farrell, 40-pound redfish. He caught him in 3 to 5 foot of water, and he caught him on top water.
Wow.
And so I in St. Andrew Bay, and that's a great picture right there. I emailed him back. He sent this on email. I emailed him back. That's the kind of picture you just want to frame and put on your wall right there. That's just a good-looking picture right there.
That's a good-looking redfish.
Good job, Forrest. Wow. And here's another picture of it. Wow. It's up closer right there.
That is a hoss.
Top water, in 3 to 5 foot of water. Saturday, in all this bad weather we talk about. This picture right here, now this is on a poster of Marvin Ferran. He's from here. I used to went to Moser a long time ago. He's an outdoorsman. He's a sheriff. He's a deputy sheriff up there in Leon County. And he's going to the Ocklawaha River. He shot this Saturday morning when that sun breaking through. But, we talk about outdoor photography and all, how beautiful it is. But
yeah, it is.
Marvin is he's an excellent outdoorsman. He takes his camera with him, and he just knows, you're talking about a window of opportunity to take a good picture, and that's it right there. And I love to see Marvin's pictures, always taking great pictures. Okay, speaking, this is not posed. This is down at Shell Point where the Ocklawaha River comes out into the Gulf. And they were taking a picture of this eagle, and a dolphin was splashing in the background. Right. I just thought that was an excellent picture right there. All right, here's my buddy. All right, this is Michael Cowart. He's fishing with his dad Mark. Now here's a story. This has a good story. This is Monday morning now, Labor Day morning. A 3/8 ounce gold Johnson spoon in West Bay, and Mark Cowart was talking about it. The fish rolled up twice on his top water. A mirror lure with top pup. That's what he likes to fish with. but he rolled on him twice, and Mark couldn't hook him. So Michael threw right behind his dad, and that bait and immediately hooked him. He just moved the spoon a few feet, and the redfish is 32 inches long and weighed right over 14 pounds. Good job, Michael Coward. Okay.
What a sweetheart.
That is a great job there. Okay, let's move on to the next picture. Evan Zachary. Evan caught this speckled trout now, good-looking speckled trout, Evan. And he caught this, I believe, Sunday afternoon at the fishing party. This was the biggest fish caught that day, and Evan caught it. I love to see a young kid caught it, catch a big fish. And here's Virginia Danner Spiver, used to work there at Howard Tackle, teaching her little girl at a young age to go fishing. So you can see, well, folks, we've had, that is a good, that's all from Labor Day weekend. All local pictures from Labor Day weekend. And just a great, I complained about the weather. I got caught up, and I tried to go scalloping Saturday. And I think, you know, I went down there Friday and went down to St. Joe Bay. I watched that, I got up at 7:30, ready to go scalloping. And I watched that cloud up here in Bay County. It just started coming toward me. It was like a magnet. It came all the way down to Cape San Blas, and it rained at Cape San Blas from about 7:30 to about 11. And then all of a sudden, about 11 o'clock, it started going back to Panama City. So I just wherever, and then it rained in Panama City. I said, man, it was a tough day.
Somebody trying to tell you don't need to go scalloping.
Yeah, and the previous 3 weekends when I wanted to go scalloping, it rained here, but didn't rain down in St. Joe Bay.
Right.
And I said, what's up with this? So I go down this past weekend because it's Labor Day and all, and then it rains down there. So, but a few folks went out, but not many. We went down there, but a few folks did go out and try to get some scallops, and I think had good luck. I told my wife, as older I get, the more scared I get of lightning. I'm paranoid almost on lightning, and if it's a bad cloud now, I just don't go out. And when I was younger, it didn't bother me, but now I guess too many.
You're getting smarter, yeah. Well,
I think it's called wisdom. Let's take our final break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Let's first take a look at our fishing game forecast for today, brought to us by Mark Coward of Edgewater Beach Realty. Mark just sent us that picture of Michael catching one. But our times today, we're looking at our time, look here, only one time. It's actually from 12:01 to 2:01. So that's perfect time for lunch. If you can get off at lunch and go get some things done outdoors, it'll be an excellent time to go. Okay? And don't forget this weekend now, the women's outdoor clinic at the FWC is putting on over here at St. Andrew Park. So call ahead of time and make reservations and all. You know, Rick, also on tomorrow's show, we're going to have some good red fishing tips and all. We're good red fishermen, so don't forget to tune in tomorrow. We're talking about innovations and all in outdoor stuff and in boating and all. And one of the early guys that comes to mind, and when I did the book, I was fascinated at how Captain George Davis, how innovative he was.
Yep.
He was the first one. In fact, I even put him, I put 3 men on the cover and Captain George Davis right here.
Yep.
After I found
out.
Oh,
he was by far and above one of the most innovative fishermen here.
Yeah. Well, one of the first things he did, he worked at the shipyard during World War II, and he learned about those diesel engines.
Yep.
And then his sons would tell him that when he came back over here to Parker, he built a boat, and he's the first one to put that diesel engine in that boat.
Yep. Well, and the other thing he did with his kids, he Joe Ed became very much a businessman, and he got a degree, I think, in business administration. He was doing the book. Grover learned about those diesel engines a lot. Grover is a heck of a diesel mechanic. And then his middle son, or Duck, Edsel Davis, but everybody called him Duck. Duck was the only man in the business considered a naval architect. He didn't have a degree. He was self-taught.
But he was honored by the naval architect industry.
And absolutely knew a lot.
Yeah.
And he was all self-taught. But he was, all three of those people, you go back to the dad. He saw that those guys learned and had a good work ethic and everything, and they used to come to our shipyard, and he always had time for me, and he loved ball, and he would teach me and show me tricks to the trade and playing ball. But he was the first to air condition.
First one to air condition it.
First diesels. And I'm pretty sure I'm right, he was the first headboat to use electric reels.
Electric reels, and also he built that double-decker boat.
Yep, he built the Queen of Queens and New Dixie Queen, 2 decks, and all. And of course, I remember he was the first to carry the oxygen and all in case somebody had a heart attack or anything. There was a lot of things that Captain George was very innovative with, and not all of it was just technology. It was safety oriented too.
And also just the way unique way he named all his boats. The Queen of something, the Queen this, the Dixie Queen, the Gemini Queen. He always had the word Queen in there. And actually, because he was a little part-time farmer, he loved to farm. I mean, he didn't have a farm. He just loved to grow stuff in the backyard like a lot of folks. And the watermelon, his favorite watermelon seed was the Dixie Queen watermelon. And that's how everything, he started naming after that. And it was fascinating, and everything was named Queen of Queens, and or just whole line of Queen boats.
Well, that whole family was an amazing part of this community, and they.
And you know what else is fascinating? How that generation now his daughter, Claire Nell Miller, okay, her son is Mike Miller, Miller Marine, okay, who carries on, that's third generation right there. Now Mike's daughter, Mandy, is working out there at the shipyard, and so that's 4 generations of that family, of that genetic makeup and tradition going out there.
Grover's daughter's an admiralty attorney.
Grover, and Grover is still going strong with marine transportation out here. So it's funny how that that knowledge and experience still goes.
Well, and that's what the old people used to do is they would train their kids to pass it down. I mean, I'm the 6th generation mariner in my family.
That's great.
And 2nd generation surveyor. And but that's a good way to learn things too. Apprenticeship is still the absolute best way to learn something because you don't have to make the same stupid mistakes. Don't do that. I've already done that. It don't work.
Well, Rick, as always, it's fun having you come on and talk about so many different things and all. And if you have any folks have any questions on any kind of boat or anything about it, call Rick Corley. He's the expert.
Well, not only that, but if you've got a question and you got time, email
me, and I'll pass it on to the next show.
He can tell me, and if I know the answer, I'll give it to you. If I don't, I'll tell you. I don't know. I got to go look it up. But I got a good library. Yeah, I can find out.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank y'all for watching Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Listen, you have a great day today. You do something good for somebody, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.